Hello everyone, today we're going to be drawing this with the famous ARRTX acrylic markers that I have been dying to try. I've seen them everywhere and they reached out to me to make some TikToks, which I did, but you guys wanted a YouTube video on the process, so here we are. As you can see here, right out of the box, you're going to have to put 2 stickers on each one just to identify the colors. I have no idea why this is a thing. By the time I was done, I didn't even want to draw. 0 out of 10, counterintuitive design. However, slightly saved because when I thought about swatching the markers, I just got super excited again, and I'll be swatching them in this unfinished Inktober sketchbook that I have because it has a brown paper. So what better way to test the thickness and the opacity and the vibrancy of colors if not on tinted paper? But also slight bias because this is my favorite place to do traditional art is colored paper and bright white highlights. And you'll see those 2 lines there are from one of my favorite tools that I always mention, which is the Faber-Castell gel marker, paint marker. I guess we can call it an acrylic marker now. And this set is basically that, but with a bunch of colors. So how could I not be excited? One of the first things I immediately noticed was just the opacity was all over the place. Some of the markers were super vibrant, thicky, like, oh my God, look at this red. And then some of them were just randomly transparent. So it would be interesting to rebuy the same set and then test those colors and see if it's just consistently the same hues. Because if you use gouache or watercolor, you'll know that some colors just always dry a certain way. Even the paint itself dries the same, some dry faster, slower. And so it'd be really interesting to see if that tracks over to these markers. You know what else would be interesting though? If I didn't try to overdo the aestheticness of these shots every time. I'm gonna have some blur and then you're gonna be able to see the light reflecting off the paint, the color, the brush tip, and then it just does too much and then my eyes hurt every time I'm editing the video. But I would also be lying if I said that I wasn't gonna try and do it again. So, the swatches did turn out great though. I noticed that they were a bit like gouache where once you let it dry down, the values change a bit. And this one changed a bit in opacity too, so I was pretty surprised. But getting into the actual drawing, here's the sketchbook that they sent me. I have no idea what's going on with that hole there, but that is a problem for later nibs to worry about since we're only going to be drawing on the first page here. So, and for those of you that are on Patreon, which, by the way, huge side shout out. Thank you so much for supporting me on there and making the creation of art and videos and so many more things like my comic possible on the daily. And on there I share a lot of sketchbook pages and stuff that I don't post publicly, and some of those sketchbook pages are me using these markers basically every day, but in the brown sketchbook. Well, one, because I am addicted with how these acrylic markers look on tinted paper, but also because that sketchbook has been unfinished for 3 years and I'm over it. I'm tired. It needs to get done. That and 80 other sketchbooks. I made some unrealistic goal this year to finish a sketchbook a month, and well, as you've seen, that hasn't really been going. So maybe next year I will make a year resolution to finish all my unfinished sketchbooks by the end of the year. So maybe that'll be a little bit more feasible, but I don't know, maybe when I do the math on the pages, the math won't math and it'll be impossible for me to do that, but I don't know. For now, let's get into the drawing. You saw there on my phone, I've been loving going on Pinterest and just trying to find some inspiration because lately I've been, like I said, just drawing a little bit every day and trying to really take some time in the morning to connect with my art. And a lot of the times, if not all of the times that I have decided to do this routine, and boy, do I fail a lot at this routine, but it's about trying and then falling and then getting back up again and then keep trying. That's my coping mechanism. I keep telling myself that it's fine. So as long as you're trying, keep going forward. It's okay. You fall sometimes. So I really try to keep the schedule of at least 30 minutes every morning to just doodle. The first thing in the morning, just get my coffee, sketchbook, and whatever comes to my mind, I draw it. And a lot of the times I never really scrolled for inspiration. I just kind of did whatever came to my mind. But I think lately I've been trying to seek inspiration and try new things because I think without it, I just tunnel vision and do the same thing over and over again. And also not using reference. I feel like using reference is just such a good tool to learn and kind of break out of your shell. And I feel like I already knew this. Like I do preach this a lot, but sometimes you need a reminder. And lately I have been really trying to use references and poses and stuff to learn more and not be so, I don't know if ashamed is the right word. I feel like sometimes we're ashamed to say that, yeah, I did use reference. It kind of like almost implicitly lowers the value of your art, so to speak. So I was trying really to not feel that way. So you saw the like, I saw this pose that I really liked on Pinterest, and I was like, you know what, let's go with something like this. I like it. I'm feeling it. Picasso. So yeah, and I went ahead, I did that. And as I started using the markers, let's talk about the actual markers because this is a marker review, right? We're not here to hear me ramble about random things, right? So the actual markers, if you paint with gouache, acrylic, oil, whatever the case may be, I know traditional artists all have like these very specific, or even markers. I think markers might be something like this because some things are just really hard to layer, and you have to just put the colors where they need to be and not like, especially watercolor. I would say watercolor is very heavily like this. So you can layer them, but once you put a color, like you put the color, like that's it. There's no, oh, I messed up, let me put another coat on top, and then it completely undoes what's on the bottom. That's more of an acrylic gouache situation, though gouache reactivates. So, I mean, that is what gouache is, right? In between acrylic and watercolor. So as I'm applying the colors here, you'll see that I'm just applying them where I think they're gonna go. So there is no layering to be done here. I'm literally putting the colors where they are going to go. And as the drawing goes on, I'm like, wait, I should be trying how these layer. And so you'll see through the evolution of this drawing that I actually do start layering them, and it just feels so good. I do have the process videos of my sketches that I did in the brown sketchbook, the daily ones. I haven't posted them yet because I'm supposed to be on hiatus. But this video was like I was too excited to make this one. So, this is kind of like an offshoot. Okay. So hopefully you like this video, and maybe I can make the other ones as well. Or I wasn't sure if to just post them on Patreon. I don't really know what to do with the footage, but for now it's there. And there you will see that I do actually very heavily layer these, and they work so well. Like I cannot tell you, there is one drawing where I did a whole chunk of black and I painted over it. And it was just like the black wasn't even there. I layered over the black. And that, if that isn't a testament to how like saturated and pigmented these are, then I don't know. And a lot of it also comes down to how many layers you put. Of course, the more layers you put, the more opaque it's going to be. And that's how I felt it was going to be with like the more transparent colors. But it kind of turns out that they were a lot more opaque than I thought. And once you lay them down, especially on the colored paper, it's more obvious to see how transparent they are, but also because of the texture of the colored paper. So this specific sketchbook that they sent me has more of like a porous kind of texture. And so when you put the colors on this, it almost like sucks in the color, and it just feels more like vibrant and like paintery. I don't even know if that's correct. But when you layer the colors here that I start doing, like here you go. Now you see me start layering colors, and just look how vibrant and nice they look once you put them on top of each other. I'm not sure if that's a testament to the marker or the paper or a combination of both, but I really like how the markers layer in this texture of paper. And one of the things that you don't really see here that I actually noticed a lot in my other sketches in the sketchbook is that these markers just run out so fast. When I first started using the markers, because I have a fear of like running out of art resources. Like I don't want to use my supplies because they'll run out. But it's like, isn't that the point? Like, you're supposed to use them. So I don't know. At first, I was very, very scared to like waste the markers, which is also partly the reason why I was just like putting colors only where they go rather than layering them. It just feels like every time I did a big block of color, I was like, no, it's running out. And I kind of let go of that fear. And then the fear kind of came back because it feels like they really do run out really fast. I don't know. Now I would like to test if it's this paper or if it's my brown paper, but this paper, like I said, feels very porous. So I feel like I might be using way more marker than I intend to. And on the brown paper, it just feels like I need less. So when I was using it in the sketchbook, the brown one, there's a marker that's already gone. And I only used it like, I would say for like one drawing, for a couple, like one little block, and it's already running out. Like I can't suck any paint out of it. I don't know if that's like maybe the position of the marker, like the way I store it or what, but it's literally gone. And so some of these markers just feel like that kind of like burgundy color that I was shading with is probably the color I've used the most. That one and the dark like teal color for her eyebrows are the two colors I've used the most. And it feels like they still haven't run out. So I'm not even sure if this is like, again, a consistency issue. If I buy these colors again, am I going to run into that problem constantly with the same colors? Or I have no idea what's going on. The blue one that I used for her dangles bubbles at the bottom, at the tip of the marker. So when I open the marker, every single time I store it, I think I have to store it upside down in comparison to how they sent it. So they send it with a cap bottom, and now I have to store it cap top, because every time I open the marker, there's like a pool of paint at the tip of the marker. And I'm just like, every single time I have to deal with each marker, like each marker has its own personality, you know, I have to kind of cater to it and figure out which way it's going to work today. So I think that is like one of my biggest issues with these markers. And it sucks because I only have this box. I would love to be able to like purchase some more. They are kind of expensive and I live in Serbia, so the shipping is a bit much. But I think that is one thing I would be very, very curious to see is like, are these markers just like this all the time? Or did I just get a weird batch? Or what happened? So it would be very interesting. They have a lot of different kinds of markers as well. I think these are the brush tip pens. I know they have like a more traditional marker tip pens as well, and they have dual tip. But it really like worries me because I started doing like these daily sketches on like around the end of September, like beginning of October. I'm in the middle of moving right now, so I just like cannot do daily sketches anymore. So it was almost like a half Inktober. I don't know if any of you are doing Inktober, but I'm so jealous. I want to be able to do it right now, but I really can't. And once I was like 3 or 4 drawings in, I was like, there's no way that these markers are going to last me a whole month of Inktober if I chose to do Inktober with this. And that makes me sad because if you're somebody who draws, like markers are your primary tool to make art, these markers just feel like they are not worth. Like that is, I think, my honest thought on these. I think they were so fun for me, and they are. I'm no lie, I am probably going to buy. I'm going to probably buy another box. So I think what makes it sad for me though is that if I were to use these more regularly, which I am kind of like on a binge, I really like them a lot, is that they are going to run out fast, and eventually I'm just going to get tired of how much it costs to replace them and use them. So I know acrylic markers, now I know this, are not really like an only ARRTX thing. And there are many other brands that have these. So if you know of any good acrylic markers that maybe you even want me to try, let me know. I'll try them. I'll get them, make a video, and hopefully the video doesn't tank so I could at least go even on the cost of the markers, because my videos have been doing quite awfully. Let's make a side tangent. I have no idea why my videos have been doing so poorly. I'm trying to analyze it. I'm like, I feel like my editing has gotten better. I feel like I ramble a little less often. Today we're rambling because you know what? Fuck that shit. It takes way too long to make a coherent voiceover and cut out all the ums and everything only to sound like a robot at the end. Not like this is any better, but it's more fun. Anyway, this is the finished product, and honestly, I'm super, super proud of it. Definitely one of my favorites, and the markers were just incredible, but I do want to buy a couple more and try them before I solidify my opinion on them. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you liked it, comment down below, let me know what you thought, and subscribe. We're almost at 100K. It would be a dream to hit 100K on something for the first time. Thank you so much again to everybody on Patreon supporting. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next video. Bye!